The White House just admitted that a military draft is technically on the table as the war with Iran continues, which is exactly the kind of phrase that makes parents across America stop folding laundry and start paying very close attention. So here's what's going on. As U.S. strikes on Iran move deeper into their second week, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt was asked directly whether Americans should worry about a draft if the war were to expand. Her answer was that a draft is not part of the current plan, but President Trump does not remove options from the table. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth backed that up later, saying the U.S. would be unwise to rule out anything publicly, including boots on the ground, because apparently ambiguity is now the official communication strategy. Now, to be clear, that does not mean a draft is imminent. The United States hasn't used conscription since 1973, and the military has been all volunteer ever since. But the legal framework still exists, which is why millions of young men are still required to register with Selective Service, the government's polite little reminder that if things ever get ugly enough, the paperwork is already waiting. Welcome to Why It's Trending Daily. I'm Hank. This is where I break down the stories everyone's suddenly Googling, and I explain why they matter. So here's what some people are missing. Wars are always sold with the same opening package. Limited objectives, no overreach, very controlled, very strategic, and everything is totally under control. And then, if they drag on, suddenly the phrase all options remain on the table starts getting used a lot more often. Now, that doesn't mean Washington is planning a draft tomorrow. It means Washington does not want to be cornered into saying what it won't do later. So, my read is this. Talking about the draft right now is less about policy and more about preparing the public for the possibility that this war could last a lot longer and get a lot messier than the opening sales pitch might have suggested. And why this matters is pretty simple, because once governments start publicly preserving manpower options, that tells you people planning the war are thinking beyond airstrikes and beyond the first phase. If the conflict stays limited, this will fade. But if it expands, this conversation gets much louder, much faster, and a lot more personal for a lot of American families. So this story isn't finished yet. It's entering the part where people start asking what the real ceiling is. I'm Hank, here to explain the chaos, not hype it. If you want clarity instead of noise, you're in the right place.